Boom, we're recording. Is it official?
Official.
It's official.
I see the red lights flashing.
Usually my editor likes to take out this piece. Don't take it out, okay, Dave? Do me a favor, keep it. Anyways, welcome to Freestyle. We're behind San Francisco CrossFit right now. We're hanging out with my good friend Nate Helming. Hi.
What's up?
Nate Helming and I have been traveling a lot.
Last couple of years.
It's been pretty crazy, and we actually have nothing in common. No, we do. We have CrossFit in common, but Nate is an endurance athlete. That's where he comes from. He comes from an endurance background. I come from a gymnastics background. We met through CrossFit here at San Francisco CrossFit through Kelly Starrett with Mobility WOD, and we've done a lot of talking.
A little bit of breakdancing too.
We did breakdancing too. We would break the ice with the low b-boy, right? And then we would get crazy. So it was like two 30-year-old dudes just getting down on a Friday morning. Pretty crazy.
That'll be the next video.
That'll be the next video. Anyways, I don't want to take up too much of your time. We want to talk about running. And we want to specifically talk about running mechanics. And I am no runner, so thank goodness.
You run a half marathon in the past?
Dude, I've
Not
run
too bad. Four.
4 half marathons. Never a full.
Never a full.
Can I do it?
I think you can do it. We'll find out. That'll be video number 3.
That's right, video number 3. So we're talking about running mechanics, and as I'm not a runner, I brought Nate Helming here to bring validity to the subject. And one of the things that I want to talk about today, or I want Nate to talk about, is hip mechanics while we run. And things that you've kind of discovered over the years through strength and conditioning and running. And as you can see, he has a fancy PVC pipe.
I feel I'm like show and tell.
That's right.
Bringing my toys to school.
So what are you going to tell us?
So I want to talk about hip positioning. We were just talking about that before we started filming. We thought it'd be cool to put it on camera, and these are some real big aha moments that you really helped me develop. A lot of our travel together, we started talking about these things, and of course, the foundation there was a lot of my work with Brian McKenzie and CrossFit Endurance, and really understanding and digging deep into pose running, which is a fantastic program. I'm sure a lot of you guys who have some running mechanics foundation are going to recognize some of the things I'm talking about via pose. One of the things that I have appreciated working with you is being able to speak about this in a slightly different way, using a slightly different vocabulary, and just kind of approaching movement from a slightly different angle, which I think is pretty cool.
Totally. So, down to the nitty-gritty, what is your big discovery when just thinking about running in relationship to strength and conditioning?
So, one of the two big things that I always struggled with, one was the importance of our hips. And I know that in the strength and conditioning world, we're always trying to strengthen our hips, and that hip extension is such a powerful thing. Now, with running, one of the things that I learned from CrossFit Endurance and from Pose was this notion of falling forward as we run. And I kind of struggled with this because I know that, okay, I need to train power with my hips. But on the other side with running, I know I need to be real upright. They don't talk about hips as much. And then there's this weird thing where we were being told that we needed to be upright as we ran, but we also needed to fall forward and take advantage of running. And I really struggled with this notion of falling forward and being upright at the same time and being powerful in my hips. It confused the hell out of me.
Yeah, that's a very hard thing. How do you fall and stay upright? So what did you kind of come up with, and what's the visual in your head that you look at that you have a very clear example in PVC pipe?
Conveniently, the PVC pipe
It's like our demo girl.
It's like our demo girl right here.
Or guy.
We don't know.
Oh, wait, yeah. It's not gender specific. It doesn't matter. Show us.
So one of the things I realized was that, as a runner, a lot of times we give this example of the PVC pipe, that our body goes down at this angle. We take advantage of gravity. We pick up our feet underneath us and we catch ourselves as we go down the way. But we realized that, especially learning through some of the things I saw with our muscle ups, with our pull ups, with our Olympic lifting, that our body goes through moments of extension all the time, and it's that extension that we express so much power. Mm-hmm. So when we run, it's not necessarily just falling this way, it's actually falling this way, where all of a sudden I can fall forward and be upright at the same time, because by pressing my hips forward, I'm getting this globally extended position through my spine, through my hips, and obviously through my legs. And that run speed comes from that big leg extension out the back, and this is why Kelly Starrett talks so much about the couch stretch, why he does so much of the banded hip distraction work, why runners have such a hard time with heel striking because they're so tight here. Kelly and Brian have both talked about that. And we realized that, oh yeah, this hip extension thing is important, but we needed to integrate that with the running technique. And for me, this was that moment when I understood that hips go forward, chest is upright, so I'm able to fall forward and stand upright at the same time.
Cool, so just to throw a little wrench in there into the mix, I think there will be people that will hear this and think, you know what, being an extension in your back while running is probably not ideal, especially with that constant impact.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that was the other thing that was hard, and that was my own personal journey into San Francisco CrossFit as a skinny, broken down. Fun fact, I weighed 150 pounds soaking wet when I started. Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing. That's what I weigh right now.
Now I'm 155. Kidding, I'm a little bit more.
We think that's funny. Actually, there's an awesome picture of him. He looks like a lollipop deadlifting. It was really funny. Anyways,
I was a mess.
What was your discovery? What was your realization?
Well, when I came in, I was that typical overextended athlete through the low back, right? I would do all these exercises in physical therapy, but every time I'd run, I would default into this type of arched low back position. I didn't have a lot of control. I was dealing with a lot of hamstring issues, and that's really what got me into San Francisco CrossFit in the first place, and really got me interacting and working with Kelly, and then eventually with Brian with CrossFit Endurance. But I realized that there's a difference between overextension. This is the big thing I learned working and traveling with the freestyle crew, was that there's a difference between overextension, right, unsupported, and being strong in a globally extended position. And I realized one of the things that's hard about running is that I can't be overextended, that's not good, but I need to be strong and supported in this extended position. So how do we train that?
Yeah, that's right. So that's what we're looking into doing, and that's where I want you to show us one of those basic drills that we use for that, that in the past may have been perceived as a falling drill, but we can now use as a drill to maximize extension while running.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna put my little helper down to the side over here.
I'll be your bander holder.
Yeah, this is a fun little partner drill. As I said, it's been used sometimes as a falling drill in the past, but it can really be used, I think, to reinforce.
Let me grab your band, son.
Forward position. And this is how we have this set up. I like this band set up at about hip level. It's nice because I have this tactile feedback of the hip and the band, so I sort of know when I squeeze my butt, I push my hips forward, versus when I tend to break a little bit. So notice the difference between good extension versus bad extension. I can't help but think about Robert Tuller when I think about
that's another video, guys. That's another video.
That's like video 5.
Anyways, yeah, that's
I'm
video
keeping
5.
track of numbers.
Keep track. Sorry, all the distractions. We just get along a lot. And yeah, it gets a little crazy. Go for it.
So we think about squeezing our belly and our butt, setting ourselves up, and I'm pushing my hips forward. And just like that PVC pipe, I'm actually bowing my body forward a little bit. And notice that my legs are starting to come back. From here, I can think about jogging in place. Carl's gonna hold a little bit of tension here, not let me go. And I'm just gonna start to press forward with my hips. And slowly he could drag me across, or I could drag him across. What I like to do with this is actually play with different levels of tension on the band. Now, imagine if you were squatting heavy, right? You wanted to go for a 1 rep max today. You don't go 100% in the beginning, right? You don't go 50% in the beginning, right? You go low. So notice how nice and light and easy that was. Once I do that, I could go with a little bit greater tension, a little bit greater tension. Maybe the early lower percentage tension is just a nice way to develop that feel, right? But then I could take it all the way up to a power running drill with a whole lot of tension in there. So it's a pretty universal drill, and it just reinforces that hip position.
That makes sense. So all of this that we just talked about just comes down to talking about basic shapes in motion. And one of the things that we know is that if we have control of our spine, we have motor control. If we have motor control, we perform better. This right here, understanding how to extend the hips and create global extension, we're not just saying spinal extension, we're saying global extension from head to toes. Now we'll be able to maximize performance down the line, and this is such a simple drill. Is this falling? Yes. But is it staying upright at the same time? Yes. Is it taking these basic shapes and performing at the highest level regardless of what your style of running is? Yes. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. So, Nate Helming, everyone, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, dude.
Boom.
Appreciate it. Peace.